How can Arthur Lang describe his term of office as the Israeli ambassador to South Africa? What is Israel's position on the ANC's proposal to downgrade South Africa's embassy in Israel? Does Israel have the political will to recognize Palestine as a sovereign state? Why does the Palestinian lobby in South Africa scare lots of people? What time is it? It's question time. Khodzong and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. As Arthur Lang's term of office as ambassador of of Israel to South Africa draws to a close, he says there are 11 things he has learned in the country. Amongst others, he says South Africa's liberation story still has resonance and inspiration for many people around the world. He also reiterates that bilateral trade with the country is significant and has room to grow because of complementary focuses. These assertions come in the wake of the ANC's proposal to downgrade the South African embassy in Israel to a liaison office. The South African Board of Deputies says it will be ill-advised for South Africa to remove itself from the role of bringing the parties together to resolve the conflict. For his part, Palestinian ambassador to South Africa, Hashem Dajani, has welcomed the ANC's proposal, calling it an advanced move to put pressure on the apartheid government of Israel in order to end occupation of the state of Palestine. We are live, therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. If you are calling from outside the borders, +2789-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today, His Excellency Honorable Arthur Lang. He's the ambassador of Israel to South Africa, who is about to leave the country. How many years has it been?
It's been 4 years.
4 years, and this is your 5th time here with us, right?
I'm a lucky man. Thanks for having me back.
Very lucky. But let's look at indeed some of the things that you're saying as you depart South Africa for Israel. These are the main things that you think you have learned.
Yeah, the truth is I've learned a lot. I'm a lucky man. I got the opportunity to spend 4 years in this amazing country and share with people and learn from people the things that Israel and Africa can do together. And one of the things I've learned is that little Israel, a tiny country the size of Kruger Park, has lots of things that are relevant all over the African continent, whether it's water management and fighting drought, whether it's keeping people safe from terrorism, whether it's food security and agriculture. All of these things are growing our relationship across the African continent.
But one of the things that you're saying you've learned is that the Palestinian lobby scares people.
Well, it does, because they make a lot of noise and they do a lot of yelling and they threaten and often use violence. But the truth is that's not the way most South Africans look at things. Most South Africans are open, are interested in Israel, the land of the Bible, are interested in development, are interested in finding jobs, are interested in improving the economy, are interested in friendships with countries around the world. And so I spent 4 years here making friends and finding that people are interested and are hopeful, both for Israelis and for our neighbors.
Then the ANC recommends that the embassy in Jerusalem, I don't know, is it in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, it must be downgraded to a liaison office.
Well, it would be a mistake, but the truth is a decision like that, if it would happen, wouldn't affect Israelis and wouldn't affect Palestinians. It would only affect South Africans. One of the biggest needs of economic transformation in South Africa is increasing your exports, of finding more trading partners. Israel's a big trading partner, and if you don't have an embassy that can do those things, you'll lose out. Tens of thousands of South Africans visit Israel every year on pilgrimage or to visit friends and family or to do business. If there isn't consular services to help them, you'll lose out. So the truth is an idea like that is bad for South Africa and doesn't really impact anybody else.
The I just want to take you back a bit. The Palestinian lobby is very strong here in South Africa, but it would appear you conducted some research.
Well, they make a lot of noise, but the truth is they're not so strong. A recent survey from Cape Town, University of Cape Town found that less than 4% of South Africans even know that there's such a lobby. Only 27% of South Africans know that there's a conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. And those who do are equally in favor of both sides, just want to see Israelis and Palestinians move forward and do better like they want them for themselves and for South Africa. And so the truth is, research shows that South Africans are friendly and are interested in dialogue and collaboration and making things better for South Africa.
Richard Johan Bloemhoff, welcome. Richard? Okay, Richard is no longer on the line, but please do give us a call, 089-1104-210, and perhaps you've got some parting shots for the Israeli ambassador who is leaving South Africa, going back to Israel. Do you have a sense that you are going back to a peaceful country, going back home?
Well, there's no question I'm going back to a successful country, a country that our economy is succeeding, that we're more diverse and more open to people of different faiths and different backgrounds, where we're breaking records of tourism, where the Prime Minister of India was in Israel last week, the President of Rwanda is there now. Our relations with the world, certainly with Africa, are at an all-time high. Things are good for my country and could be even better.
Peace?
Well, it takes two sides to make peace. I was watching recently, the first time I was on your show almost 4 years ago, and I talked about then that Israelis are ready to make peace with Palestinians, just the way that we made peace with Egypt and made peace with Jordan, just the way that South Africans made peace with themselves. But it takes two sides to talk, to compromise, to negotiate, and for the recent years, the Palestinians are just not willing to do that.
But how do you expect them to talk to you when you're encroaching on their land? I mean, there's supposed to be a moratorium on settlement, the expansion of settlements, but Israel continues to build on the land which is said to be Palestinian territory.
Well, there's a debate about whose is what land, and we need to negotiate, just like in South Africa. You reached your resolutions of your conflict by talking to each other, and by reaching compromises, and by looking at each other in the eye.
But you are both arrogant, and I must be honest. I mean, to try and get the Palestinian and Israeli to talk, I don't know what would it take, really, and I thought that's what you need.
Well, that's exactly what we need. What we need is we need to get the two sides in the room. Israelis know how to make peace. We've made peace with a number of our neighbors before. We're ready to make compromises. We know how to do deals. And the question is where is the Palestinian leader who's willing to look at his own people in the eye and say, you can't have everything. You can't keep killing people. You can't keep up terrorism. It's time for compromise. That's what we're looking for. When that day comes, the Israeli people will be ready to make peace. And we're ready today.
Francois.
Good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Francois?
Very well, thanks. And also a greeting to the Honorable Lenk, your guest, Paul.
Yes.
Paul, mine is just to say publicly on national TV, I am a Christian.
Yeah.
I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's unfortunate to hear that one of the Israelis ambassadors is leaving our shores. But I would like to say that, Israel should be aware that there are people all over the world that's praying for Israel. Israel has done nothing to South Africa, but just to see prosperity all over. It's only, the problem with the Palestinians and Israel that is there. But, God is going to reveal what we don't know at the end of time. I'm praying for Israel, and so do those who read the Bible and understand what is happening. There will be hard times coming for Israel in any case. But we'll keep on praying, because the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is still there with Israel and for Israel. And at the end of the day, we will understand all this turmoil that Israel is going through. God is there. That is all I need to say.
But Francois, before you go, are you still there?
I'm here.
Well, is the same God with the people of Palestine as well?
Let me put it this way. If you go back in history, according to the Bible, Israel is being given to the land Israel by God. And, you know, Israel has been fighting, been embroiled in war from the beginning. So, and that is that. Now, it's not about, you know, the land question. We should understand that no one of us was born with, you know, soil in our hand. Therefore, we should live in peace and harmony with each other. But where animosity comes from, that is that. Where do it comes from? Where does this? Why all this? For some reason, I don't know. Only God understands, and one will have to go to the truth, and you will then understand why. You know, there's always an attack of some nation, which is Israel, and everything that concerns Israel concerns God, and that is the most important thing.
All right, Francois, thank you very much for that contribution there, Francois, calling us from the Eastern Cape. We're taking your calls, 089-1104-210, 089-1104-210, and we're talking to the outgoing ambassador of Israel to South Africa, Arthur Lank. I think this is what makes it makes this topic very emotive for a lot of people, that they always invoke you know, the Bible and God and all that, and I think somehow you need sober leadership both in Israel and Palestine, people who are going to say we cannot continue to kill each other like this. Because
well, I think you're right. I think you're right, and that Francois and so many other people around Africa feel a connection to the Holy Land, and know that whether you are Christian or Muslim or Jewish, the Middle East is the cradle of religious civilization in many ways, and that for Christians, there's only one place in that whole region where they can live safely, and that's Israel. These days in Iraq, and in Syria, and in Egypt, Christians are being chased and their communities are dropping in Gaza and the West Bank too. In Israel, Christians are respected, welcomed to come visit on pilgrimage, and we're grateful for those blessings.
Now, the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, obviously, I mean, commenting on this pending downgrade of the Israeli embassy. But what I like about their statement is that they're saying they see South Africa playing a role in the peace processes that are supposed to happen in the Middle East.
Well, I think that South Africa has a message of reconciliation, of how you make peace, right? It's maybe because it's 23 years have gone by and so much news on so many different levels, you forget about how inspiring the transformation of South Africa was. And I think, though, that around the Middle East, around the world, people can be inspired by that. The people of Iraq, the people of Syria, the people of Iran, the people of the Palestinian areas, Israelis, can be moved by your story. But you have to tell it in a way that isn't just pushing one side or one narrative. And for you to get credibility in my region, I think that you need to have relationships with everybody. And by limiting a relationship with us, South Africans lose out, and you lose the opportunity to have an impact.
Martin, you're in Mpumalanga. Welcome.
No, thanks very much, and how are you? And
the ambassador, we are well. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, what I want to say is that let the gentleman go well, and actually I want to give him the message to the people of Israel that let them go and assist in making sure that they return what belongs to the people of Palestine. And I think that the ANC policy conference came with a very good resolution saying that they want to withdraw from Israel. That's a good idea until the Israelites or the government of Israel decides to go away with the apartheid policies that they are doing there. Actually, they are practicing cruelty against humanity, and I thought if they were men enough to say that they belong to God, I don't think that we will agree with them in terms of what they are doing in the people in Gaza and the people of Palestine.
Okay.
So thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks very much, Martin. Well, they're saying au revoir, but yeah, I've got a message.
Well, I understand the message, and the message is real. Israelis and Palestinians, the way to make peace is through talking and through dialogue, and not through terrorism, not through violence. One of my great lessons of learning about in South Africa is the terrorism that exists in the Middle East. The Boko Haram, the El Shabaab, the Hezbollah kind of terrorism didn't happen in South Africa.
No.
It wasn't. The transformation, the opportunity to make peace and to change happened because South Africa was different.
Now tell me, why do you feel rubbed the wrong way when people talk of apartheid Israel?
Well, it's not right. It's just wrong. Israel is a democracy where all of the citizens have a vote, where there are judges who are Arabs and Palestinians, and there are members of parliament and ambassadors, and people can live and travel anywhere they want. So if I was a South African, I would say, what in the world are you taking my heritage, the story of this place, and allowing it to be abused for political purposes? You know that in a country like Lebanon, the Palestinians who live there can't work. In Qatar, if you're not a citizen of that country, you're basically an indentured servant. In Saudi Arabia, if you're a woman, you can't drive a car. None of those countries have those kind of terms used or human rights messages, but democratic, diverse Israel, I don't know. If I was a South African, I would be insulted.
Baldwin, you're in Germiston.
Yes.
Welcome.
It's just a concern to me to see a man from Israel up until today. They are still forgetting that we were looking up to them for the world to know what love is, because Jesus was born there. Mm-hmm. Love was born there. But New Israel is not this one. And this one, I think, is under United States, because every time it's about weapons being funded and being used upon their neighbors. How happy are you, Mr. Ambassador? I don't know whether you are outgoing ambassador. How happy are you when you see children dying on your neighbor? We are Christians here in Africa. We just see what is happening out there. How happy are you when you see these people suffering next door just because of land? I just want to understand that.
Thanks very much, Baldwin.
Well, it's tragic. Do you know that 500,000 people have died in Syria over the last 6 years in war? 500,000. It's tragic when Israelis die. It's tragic when Palestinians die. We have to find a way to stop it. The way to stop it is to encourage negotiations, encourage dialogue. For South Africa to tell its story that the solution was for people to meet and to reach reconciliation and to live in coexistence. In Israel and the Palestinian areas, we need to tell our children to stop killing, stop incitement, stop terrorism, and return to dialogue. That's what's needed for Israelis, for Palestinians, and the truth is throughout the Middle East.
How many Jews are in South Africa?
Well, very few, actually. There are about 70,000 Jews, less than 0.2% of the citizens of South Africa. It's a tiny community, but it's a community that's been a part of everything that's happened in South Africa and building up the country socially, economically, in giving back way beyond its share in life in South Africa.
Leonie, you are in Campton Park.
Hello.
Yes, is it Leonie or Naomi?
Naomi.
Oh, okay, Naomi, welcome.
Thank you. And shalom to Ambassador.
Shalom, Naomi.
Yes. I studied in Israel. I did my master's degree in Tel Aviv University.
Oh, okay.
And I find it quite amazing how people have all this misconceptions and ideas about Israel. The Israel that you see on the media and the Israel that if you visit there and you interact with Israelis and Palestinians, it's quite different. So I just want to say, I've been listening to people asking questions before people, jump into all these conclusions. It's always better to visit the land and you see it with yourself. It's a different story.
Okay, Naomi. Well, you're sounding like Robert Mugabe there. I mean, you talk to him, you get a different Zimbabwe there than what we would be seeing in the news there. But anyway.
No, but what she's saying is right.
Yeah.
Get on an airplane, go see for yourself. Go make up your own point of view. Nobody's going to tell you what to think. Do you know that over 20,000 South Africans visited Israel last year? People do go and get ideas, but if you don't go and you're only following what says what exists, the narrative in certain newspapers, well, I'm not sure that you get the idea for yourself. I think people should come and see. I think she's right, and I'm glad that she studied at Tel Aviv University.
Well, you've been around here for quite some time, and had it been the wish of BDS and others, you would have gone, I think, how many years ago?
I don't know, but I'm finishing up my 4 years, partly because Israel and South Africa have things to do with each other. We have trade that was nearly 14 billion rand last year. We have tourism in both directions. We have Israeli investment. We have developing of exports for South Africa in agriculture and in food security. We have things to do together, and I think that the leaders in South Africa and Israel understand that it's in our shared interest. Certainly it's in our public's interest to do more things together.
Itumeleng, you're in Pretoria.
Thank you, Mpo.
Well,
Mpo, I think our government, whether it is this year or last year, they erected the statue of Nelson Mandela in Palestine. I don't know when they erected that statue, what was they communicating to us? Because Nelson Mandela is a man of peace and reconciliation. Not to me, I thought they wanted to tell Israel and Palestine that you need to reconcile and look at this issue in a peaceful way going forward. Because of looking at this stream about land, people taking over land. Looking at this stream, this happened all over the world. Even right now, our government here in South Africa, you listen to the Khoisan people, they are very much angry with our government not wanting to recognize them as the people who originally being on this land. Yeah. So looking at the issue of land, it will be problematic. The damage is done. We know England was involved. Lord Rothschild was involved when Israel took over Palestine, and then Ben Gurion. But for going forward, that statue of Nelson Mandela represented peace and reconciliation for the two countries. And then I support both of them. Thank you very much, Mpo.
Thanks, Itumeleng.
That's it. That voice is the voice of so many South Africans I met. Somebody who says, I support both of them. That I pray to follow in the footsteps of Madiba and his wishes for peace and negotiation. That voice is exactly right.
What are you going to miss most?
You, I think. I think I'm going to miss you. But what I'm really going to miss in South Africa is interacting with people, of traveling around the country and finding people who want to make a better life, who see opportunities, whether it's working as farmers, whether it's working in technology or in innovation, where we've had a contest over the last 4 years for finding the best new startup in South Africa, because Israel is a startup nation. We're very famous for our innovation and creativity. And so tomorrow night, we're going to announce for the fourth time a winner of a contest of a South African who has the best new startup. And so I'm going to miss being able to find commonalities, because there are so many of them. And the myth that Israelis and South Africans don't mix, that we somehow don't have things to do together, the number one lesson is that's totally wrong. And that's what I'm going to miss the most.
Yeah, but you must talk to your fellow Jews here to open up the businesses, eh?
Well, the truth is it's amazing how involved the Jewish community is in development and in creating opportunities, whether it's in bursaries, whether it's Africa Tikkun, the beautiful organization. I'm going there for Mandela Day next week with the whole embassy team to volunteer time to work at Africa Tikkun, helping in Alexandra. And the idea that this tiny little minority community has given back so much to South Africa, and they need to do more.
Arthur Lenk, really appreciate your time, and we wish you all the best as you go back home.
Thanks very much. Come visit, Mpho. We'd love to see you there.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I've got an invite for Israel. But that was question time for today. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. From me and the entire crew, you have yourself a wonderful time. I